Yeah, 'cause he's back. The man behind the mask. And he crawls out of your dreams. I'm guessing at the lyrics. I don't remember them exactly. Hey, folks, I'm doing an impromptu live stream. My name is Chris. This channel is called Pros and Cons, and sometimes I do a live stream when I feel like drawing. Today's Friday the 13th. I have quite a fondness for those movies. I don't know. I won't claim that they are high cinema. They're not. They're exploitative. They're trashy. And I kind of like all of them, even the bad ones. Well, they're all sort of bad in a way, but I like them. That's all I can say. So I was just sketching and I was like, why not do a live stream? Today's Friday the 13th. To me, that's basically a holiday. Look, I didn't expect necessarily too many people to jump in or anything like that. But yeah, look at that. 3 streams in 1 week. We are eating good. I mean, it all depends on what you think the quality of my live streams are. I know that the video and the audio can be a little spotty right now. I need to make some improvements. But yeah, pop, pop. Look at that. Jason X. Absolutely. I enjoyed Jason X. Spooky times, spookum stream, another stream. That's me, just loading you up, just loading you up. No shame in liking what you like. No, I'm proud of liking this stuff. Hello, Moritaka. Hello, fanboy. Let's see. Happy Friday, Chris. What's your favorite Friday movie? I figured I'd get asked that. Mine is 8, but 4 is the best movie. Let me think for 2 seconds. 8 is Takes Manhattan, right? That's your favorite? My favorite is 4. Yeah, I think it's overall the best. It's got the best actors, that's for sure. You know, it's got both Corey Feldman and Crispin Glover, so I think they class things up slightly more than most of the Friday the 13th movies. Special effects by so bad at names. All of a sudden, he's leaving my mind. The guy that did, stuff for Dawn of the Dead and stuff. Who am I thinking of? I don't know. It's got the best gore effects and stuff like that. Change to variable bitrate, low 4500, whatever you want. I have no idea how to do that. I have no idea, but maybe. Yeah, you know what? I did read some of the Friday the 13th comics. There was some that was written by Jimmy Palmiotti and a co-writer in like the 2000s that were actually pretty darn good for what they were. So I've got a light sketch here that I'm going to be working on. That's primarily what I'm doing here. Got a real loose outline of some body shapes and stuff like that, and we're gonna turn that with some reference here into some art. It doesn't really help things too much. Thank you, everybody. Yes, the guy I was thinking of is Tom Savini. He returned for part 4 to work on the effects, and I think that definitely made things a little better. So anyway, just feeling like drawing Jason Voorhees here, there's not a lot to Jason in terms of backstory or really even motivation or anything like that. I guess why I feel like he kind of works is I think of him like a mad dog or a shark. You know, he's an animal and a vicious animal at that. And there's something about his unrelenting, unstoppable nature that I do find sort of creepy. You know, is he a person? Sort of. He's a monster. He's a monster. Is that a Nika figure? Yeah, it is. This is the one based on part 6. So I'm going to be taking some inspiration from this and a little from maybe more like part 7 or something, where his outfit is a little more messed up, I'll say. And we'll just see what happens. I'm going to be working kind of fast and just sort of see what happens when I kind of work a little quicker there. But as much as I'm able to, I'll also try to take questions from the audience. Uh, yeah, that's fair, T-Rex. Actually, sharks do have more of a bad rep than they deserve. Lots of sharks are actually pretty chill. A few are a little aggressive, but even then, you really do have to provoke them quite a bit. Uh, I guess it's more just the somewhat unnatural fear of being out of my depth, like in an environment where I'm not in control, that makes sharks a little scary. That said, I grew up, seeing Jaws at a young age. I grew up on the eastern coast, and so I had a little bit of an unnatural, fear of sharks. Um, but I also recognize that that's somewhat unfounded, and I have donated money to charity causes that protect sharks because they actually are hunted um, pretty unfairly in a few parts of the world. And they're a necessary part of our overall ecosystem. So, yeah, but so maybe I spoke a little out of turn by calling them vicious. That's not the perfect adjective. Let's see. Ironically, dolphins are more outwardly vicious. Fair, fair. Yeah, double late salute. Fair enough. Boom, boom. Salutes to you guys. There you go. What do you mean by the Friday the 13th movies are exploitative? I've never watched them. Sorry. Yeah, exploitation cinema is generally, cashing in on some sort of a trend and making things kind of cheaper and faster just to sort of get it out there and cash in. And Friday the 13th did not really start the slasher genre, but definitely took advantage of the interest there. So, they were just doing, sort of cheap, gory kills, not really deep stories or anything like that. That's, I guess, what I mean by exploitation there. There were certainly other movies that are even more trashy and exploitative, like, I Spit on Your Grave, or I don't know, The Hills Have Eyes, something like that, maybe. Something like that. What's this comment say? Whoops. Mr. Wonderful is pretty vicious. Is that the guy from Shark Tank? Is that what I'm thinking? I'm pretty sure that's what you mean. But yeah, I don't know. It's also interesting in that, like, the Friday the 13th movies, they have a continuity, but every movie's sort of redoing things a little. It's it doesn't fit together super cleanly. You have to take it very loosely to make sense of it, and that's okay. They're still enjoyable for what they are. I like part 4 a lot. Anyone else out there have a different favorite Friday the 13th movie that we should acknowledge? Let me know. I did do 3 streams this week. Hello. I just felt like I did a lot for comic tropes, and for whatever reason, I talked about this a little to my Patreon supporters. Haven't really commented on it to everybody else, but my show Comic Tropes, I'm just sort of facing a little bit of burnout, so I'm sort of working a little slower than I sometimes have in the past. And so I just sort of need breaks like this to clear my head and sort of reattack things. It's I'm just having a hard time getting episodes done. I'm having fun with it, but the pressure of trying to hit an arbitrary weekly deadline right now is not helping me very much. I need to slow down temporarily. I am close to getting an episode done, and I've got a lot of ideas I'm excited about, but I'm also just I'm fighting some burnout, and I don't want to get burned out because I want to keep going, and the only way I can keep going is to like take breaks doing other things. So that's why I'm doing some of these live streams. It's still comic related, and it's part of what keeps me doing comics. Let's see. Lost Boys is your favorite horror movie, T-Rex? Fair enough. Some Jason X, Freddy versus hey. I assume you mean Freddy versus Jason. That's okay. I like Freddy versus Jason. Some people don't like Jason X and Freddy versus Jason. Some people don't like part 5 or part 8 or part 9. I don't know. I like them all on different levels, you know. I had to take a long break from making my comic due to burnout. Better to rest or focus on something else to recharge. That's kind of what I have to do right now. If I just forced this episode out, basically I would ultimately just crash and burn for quite a while. So yeah, I'm taking a small break here and there to work on stuff like this for fun. So my little bits of apologies there, because I would love to work faster and grow my channel. The only way to grow the channel is to make YouTube happy. And the way you make YouTube happy is by cranking out regular content at least once a week. Most of the time I can do that, but every once in a while I need a break. And it's weird, you know, it's 100% up to you when you take a break on stuff like this, but YouTube doesn't really want you to. They don't love that for some reason. The algorithm doesn't. It's not like people are telling you like keep going. It's the algorithm. The algorithm constantly wants you to be delivering fresh content on a regular basis. Bear with me, just sort of sketching in some details here on this guy. We're going to keep this moving, but it's fun to work in pencil sometimes too. Let's see what other people are saying. Let's see. Am I a fan of any of the Psycho sequels? I guess I've seen them all. That TV movie that I want to say part 4 was kind of interesting. Yeah, I can't complain. Love me some more comic tropes, pros and cons. Well, happy to have you here. Just saying hi because it's way past my bedtime here in Italy. Oh, beautiful. What part of Italy? Northern, central, southern? Love Italy. Love Italy. The only way to truly grow your channel is to take breaks as needed because your core fans will understand and will care about your health. That's fair. And, you know, you have to take breaks so that, like, you can come up with good, exciting ideas sometimes. But there is a short-term sort of penalty almost to it. So it's a little stressful in that regard to just know that, you know, your episodes are going to take a little bit of a hit and your monthly income is going to go down. It's a little stressful, but, you know, it is what it is. Come on. Let's see, Jason should have some nice big boots suitable for stomping on heads and so on. I really like that asymmetrical Jason Voorhees Friday the 13th video game that came out a while ago. I really liked that one. I that was a Kickstarter, I think I supported. That was really good. Building your audience off YouTube seems almost as important as building it on YouTube. Oh, building off of YouTube as well as building it on. That's fair. Boy, I'm not super in love with any other social platforms these days, and I really enjoyed Twitter for a long time. I don't really love how Twitter is working these days. It's definitely made some big changes, but it's okay. But it really does sort of penalize you for linking things off of Twitter. Like, it just does not want to promote those. It's never loved it, but it really doesn't like it now. Let's see. Are there any other good questions while I do this? Not related, but do you know about the upcoming Hayao Miyazaki movie? I barely see any coverage in English-based media. I don't think I really do, to be honest. No. What are my thoughts on Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2? I think that one's pretty funny. Boy, it's amazing that it's by the same director as the first one, just because it's very different. Tobe Hooper was definitely having some fun going in a very camp direction with part 2, but come on, Dennis Hopper having a chainsaw fight at the end, that's some pretty good stuff. That's some pretty good stuff. Just doing a little cross hatching with a fine pen. And then I'll take another question. Like he did in Freddy vs. Jason with the huge Frankenstein boots. Did he stomp on someone in that movie? He probably did. I'm trying to remember. Are there also only 2 chapters of Riddler Year 1 in the States currently? Yeah, there's only two issues out so far. It's pretty good, though. Miyazaki is always retiring. I'm pretty sure when he passed away, he'll force himself out of the grave to do one more movie. I know, right? Yeah, there's always some people like that just, they're workaholics. But you know what? As long as the quality is there, I'm in no rush for Miyazaki-san to retire. I hear that Japan has an entire Miyazaki park now, not just the Ghibli Museum, but like a park. So definitely curious about checking that out the next time I go back, if the opportunity presents itself. Right now, my plan is to go to Japan in early June. And if I'm lucky, maybe Europe towards the very end of this year. And if I go, I'll definitely be making some videos about comics wherever I go. So it'll be a vacation, but I'll turn it into an opportunity to produce more content. Always more content. Hey, look at that, a super chat. I love it. Lee says, my favorite Jason movie is where he fights the psychic. Part 7. Yeah, New Blood. Also, have you heard the theory that Jason is a Deadite in Jason Goes to Hell? Yeah, of course. I mean, they've got the Necronomicon as a prop in the background. It makes a little bit of sense. I'm kind of glad that movie crossover never came to pass, because I liked Freddy versus Jason. Evil Dead, I do think, is a little bit of a classier franchise. And I didn't love the idea of that crossing over necessarily. I read the comics, and I felt like it was almost just a little too much going on. It wasn't bad. But by the way, then they made a Freddy versus Jason versus Ash 2 comic, and that was just chaos. Like, there were just way too many characters and stuff. It didn't make much sense. It didn't make. Oh yeah, The Sleepaway Camp. Actually, I think aren't there more than 4, because wasn't like they're an unfinished version of 4, and then they went back and made like a 4 and a 5 like decades later. Yeah, Sleepaway Camp, boy, that is a very trashy first movie and very confusing, to be fair, too. It doesn't make a ton of sense all the way through, but definitely has a memorable ending. Very memorable. It's pretty creepy. Just the way they shot it, not even the idea, just like the way they shot it with like that. It's like a mask on someone. It's really crazy. Ash versus Hellraiser. Yeah, maybe. I think Ash does well against sort of nameless deadites and stuff like that because he's such a big personality. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with Evil Dead Rise, set in the apartment building in New York. I'm pretty sure that that's New York. That's an interesting idea that I haven't really seen explored yet. So I've never been disappointed by anything Evil Dead. The movies, the TV show, the sequels and semi reboots. I've never been disappointed. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. I don't think that they've ever really made a bad entry in anything Evil Dead, from my point of view. Zach, yeah, David Cronenberg in Jason X. Cronenberg also was pretty darn good in Star Trek Discovery. What a weird place for him to have shown up. I certainly never expected any of that, but he was pretty interesting. I didn't love his return as a director. What was that movie like? It was just last year he made a new movie. It was okay as a concept, but I thought it dragged a little. Cronenberg and Nightbreed. Yep. Sounds like Demons 2 at the apartment. Maybe. I think it's got a little more money than that, though. That's for sure. Who do you think was the alien at the end of the original Thing? Oh, yeah. Crimes of the Future. Thanks, everyone. Thanks. Yeah. Crimes of the Future. Interesting. Some good scenes of body horror. The story I felt like was a little slow, so I had a little trouble sort of getting super excited about it. But I enjoyed it okay the first time I saw it in the theater. It was okay. I guess my hopes got up a little because Cronenberg was involved. His son, by the way, did a really good movie. What was that? Possession or something? Or Possessor? Possessor is what I'm thinking of. That was pretty good. Who do I think was an alien at the end of? I don't necessarily think either of them were the Thing at the end. You could read it any way you prefer. When I first saw the movie, though, my first instinct was they defeated the alien, but they were about to, just freeze to death, and that was that. And people go and watch that closely for they watch the end of the movie The Thing, the remake we're talking, looking for a clue. But I don't think that there's necessarily anything that explicitly gives us an answer. It really is up to the viewer to decide on something like that. And that's okay for some horror movies to be left wondering. Yeah, I feel like the point is the feeling of paranoia. It doesn't matter who it is. Exactly. You sort of wonder. And wondering is good. Right. Infinity Pool. That's by Cronenberg's son, too, right? I'll definitely check that out. Crash is the litmus test for Cronenberg fans. The litmus test. Maybe. It's not my favorite of what he made, but maybe it works as a litmus test to determining how much you like Cronenberg and his style. Maybe. It's an interesting idea. Kind of off topic, but you tweeted that you watched Shin Ultraman. What are your thoughts? Did you know much about Ultraman prior to viewing? I've never watched an Ultraman show, so I didn't think I knew a lot about Ultraman, but you know what? I think I knew more than I thought I did. Before the movie started, they had like a 12 question multiple choice quiz, and I got either 8 or 9 of the 12 correct. So I was like, okay, maybe I know somehow through cultural osmosis. Maybe I know a tiny bit more about it than I thought I did. I was only confident on a few of them, though, so it might have been luck. I liked the movie. It was good. It's the same two guys that made Shin Godzilla, which I do think is a superior movie, but I had fun. I did have a good time at Shin Ultraman. It starts right off the bat with some kaiju, and yeah, it doesn't slow down too much, so that was good. That was good. It was entertaining. It had some well developed characters. The action was maybe a little campy, but it was well executed for what it was. Yeah, I'd give it a recommend. Right, Evangelion. Never seen that though. Half of knowing Ultraman is how to pronounce it. Ultraman. Oh, that's a fun one, Henrique. I mean, I'm drawing Jason here. What's my favorite Friday the 13th kill? Favorite. Let me think for a moment. You know, hmm, it's just so mean spirited, but like visually iconic. The is it? It's either part 2 or 3. I think it's 3, where the guy in the wheelchair gets the machete to the face and falls backwards down all those stairs. Yeah, that was pretty cool. That was pretty cool. I recommend read the original novel. Ballard was a really interesting writer. Okay. Yeah, best kill is those damn enchiladas. Ooh, baby, ooh, baby, ooh, baby, ooh, baby. Sleeping Bag Tree is a good one, but it's also we kind of know that it's pretty edited down from what the original idea was. I thought him punching a man's head off in Jason Takes Manhattan was hilarious. Yeah, I think that originally their idea was to actually build it up and make it a little more suspenseful and like actually scary. And they, somewhat famously did not have a big budget for part 8 compared to like their ambitions. And I think they sort of settled for making it a little more comedic, but it works. But I think in terms of like an actual like sort of comedy, number 6 works really well as sort of a horror comedy, and that was good. That was good. I think there was one with a flare that was quite over the top. I think that was part 5 with what's his name, the paramedic that was pretending to be Jason. Spoilers for a movie like over 30 years old at this point, but it's still entertaining. It doesn't matter who the killer was. Something like Ron or Rob. I can't quite remember right now. But anyway, he shoves a flare into somebody's mouth, and that's visually it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. The 3D kills in part 3 are hilarious. They're just so forced. Like there's so many forced shots of 3D there with like people like balancing a broom and the broom handle is like right there in the camera, or like making popcorn and all the popcorn's popping up at the camera. There's like no reason for the camera to be at these pretty awkward angles other than to show something coming at you. So that's funny. Jason X is your favorite? Hey, I think it's a blast. I do. I think it's a blast. I heard Shin Ultraman was supposed to be a 3-parter with Ultra 7 being the last movie, but that's not happening. I didn't hear about that. I know that not all paramedics are killers. I didn't say that they were. Just to be clear, I am not talking crap about paramedics. we all respect our paramedics, right? I think so. Let's draw a gloved hand here. Block out some of the big shapes so that we can keep moving forward. And but I appreciate the questions. It's keeping the live stream moving since I'm really focusing on drawing this time as compared to like reading off the news or just talking about a topic or anything. Sometimes I can really get lost in going over this this artwork and stuff. So yeah, appreciate the questions. The Freddy kill was a good one, though we quickly found out Freddy was somehow still alive. Yeah. Jason versus Paste Pot Pete. Come on, Paste Pot Pete gonna win every time. Gonna glue them all up. How Jason gonna get away from that? You ain't getting away from my glue. You ain't getting away from my glue, mister. Nice try, Jason. But you didn't count on one thing. My glue. You made two mistakes, Jason. One, you tried to kill me. And two, you didn't finish the job. And also three, you didn't count on me having all sorts of paste. I'm Paste Pop Pete. Let's see. It just sucks that Jason and Michael get their own holidays, but Freddy doesn't get the same recognition. Well, maybe if his kills had taken place on a holiday, you know what would be good? Actually, I was about to say a Christmas set Nightmare on Elm Street, but now that I think of it, no, you know what? Christmas would definitely be way cooler in a Friday the 13th movie. Set it like, because there was a cool fan film, actually two fan films. It was like one and a sequel that was set in the like up in the mountains. And the second of these fan films is like snow and stuff. And Jason at night with snow, it's great. Black, white, and red. It's a newspaper. It's red all over. It's cool. Like, yeah. Crystal Lake. I mean, if they eventually they'll do some sort of a reboot for this thing, they should set it during the holidays. Stressful time. Everybody just trying to get, a holiday together. Think of how dead, the Crystal Lake area would be, because it's based on its it's based on its summer camp, right? So I have to figure that the locals have very little to do. It's very much like a ghost town during Christmas, right? It's very empty. Like even downtown, I'm thinking it would be empty. Most stores sort of closed up for the season, and not as many people around. So a little scarier, just how sort of empty this town that's built for summer business could be. I think that would be cool. I don't know about you guys. I think that like a winter set Friday the 13th movie could definitely be just a little different enough. Still have it in like, the woods. You have like a few like extreme hikers and stuff like that. Yeah, that would be awesome, I think. Yes, we are having a nice Friday. Thank you. What part had the 007 Bond opening? That was part 6. Jason Lives, which is sort of the funny one, you could say. It had some jokes, and that's the one that starts with that Alice Cooper song, "The Man Behind the Mask." There was some good stuff in that one. I liked it. Yeah, Black Christmas was a good Christmas horror set in a sorority, and Nightmare on Elm Street could work in an environment. It could, and then all of a sudden I was just thinking Friday the 13th would probably work even better. So just my take on it, but yeah, I think it would look I think a holiday set, or at least winter set, Friday the 13th movie would be pretty badass. Ooh, baby, ooh, baby. Best horror comedy? That's so hard because there's so many good ones, you know? Dawn of the Dead and Shaun of the Dead and Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness and stuff like even Gremlins. There's so many good horror comedies. There's so many good ones. Cabin in the Woods. I don't even know how I'd go about picking the best overall horror comedy. I'd have to really like sit down with a list and start like going like, okay, I'll say that this one's better than that one, but I'd really have to visually have it in front of me. Was Dawn a comedy? I mean, it was a total satire on consumer culture. The survivors went to the mall. They had a scene where there was a biker running away from the zombies, but he sees that there's a free blood pressure test and he sticks his arm in it to get his blood pressure taken for free, and he gets killed by zombies. I'd say that that's a comedy. I'd say that that's a comedy. Oh, yeah. Rocky Horror Picture Show definitely counts. Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Yep. I thought Blood Diner was a pretty funny one. I haven't seen that. Oh, yeah. Tucker and Dale was pretty innovative. Yeah, that was decent. There's so many. I'd have a really hard time, like, just sort of putting my foot down to say, this is definitively the best. I just don't know what I could say there. It's a good question, but it's one I personally would have to spend a lot of time thinking about to come up with my overall answer. Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein. Heck yeah, that counts. Trying to work a little faster than I sometimes do, just to have some like nice bold strokes, and there's not as much like there's nothing riding on this, so I might as well sort of push myself a little to work faster. Yeah, I'd say that Houseu probably counts as horror comedy. It's so surreal, and I think it's intentionally funny. Society, that's a freaky one. Have I seen the new Puss in Boots? No. Does that count as horror comedy? It might. Keaton agrees that Houseu absolutely counts as horror comedy. Yeah. It's a weird, freaky one. That's a freaky one. This is fun. Thanks for jumping in. I didn't expect there to necessarily be anyone for an impromptu Friday the 13th live stream, but I'm glad to have you folks here. That's really kind of you, and I'm having a good time drawing. Oh, that's a good one, Beowulf. Yeah, the Frighteners. That's such an underrated movie. I dig that one. That's a good movie. I don't think that was the first thing I saw by um oh, who's that director? Jesus Christ, I'm so bad at names. Um I don't think it was the first thing I saw by that director, but I think it was like the second. I think I saw Brain Dead or Dead Alive first. Let's see. I've been busy this week, says my sister. Yeah, I've been busy this week. 3 live streams. I know, kind of impromptu, has to, but I don't know, just all sorts of projects and stuff like that, and I just need a little bit of a break. How are you doing though, Jeans? Nice to see you here. Always good having you. Peter Jackson, thank you. Yeah, Peter Jackson was the director. I was trying to think of. Oh yeah, They Live. Sure, They Live is good. Frighteners was a great movie, right? Yeah, it's pretty cool. They Live has one of the best scenes ever. Just Roddy Piper and Keith David beating the tar out of each other. It's one of the best fight scenes, just because it goes on for so long. The motivations for each character are nice and clear and well defined. They're simple but effective, and every time somebody gets hit, it feels painful because it just looks like they're being dropped on, yeah, like the regular tar, and oh, it just looks painful. Every like bit of that stunt work looks very painful. So it's good in that regard for sure. What else? Pro wrestlers are good at fake fighting. Who would have guessed? Is Devil's Rejects a comedy? Boy, I'm not the one to ask. I'm not the biggest Rob Zombie movie fan. I don't know. I don't know what he's going for usually. Love that Candyman's Tony Todd is voicing Venom in Marvel's Spider-Man 2. Marvel's Spider-Man 2. Oh, is that you talking the video game or something? That sounds good. Yeah. Piper homaged that fight when he fought Goldust. Did he? I didn't know that. That's cool. Right on. Huh. Yeah, Roddy Piper was actually a fairly decent actor out of, like, wrestlers turned actors. In his last few years, he was doing a bit of a recurring character on Always Sunny as like this sort of hobo type character that lived in the area, and I liked him. He was kind of funny. It's too bad that he passed away relatively young. It really is. Although for best overall wrestler turned actor, I'd personally go with Batista. I think he at least pushes himself in the roles that he tries to take. So I admire that. Rob Zombie was too mean spirited in those movies to be considered comedies. That's sort of where I fall. But yeah, that's sort of where I fall. Yeah, X did have some hilarious stuff in it. So did Pearl. Boy, that was a great set of horror movies that came out in 2022. That was really good. Really good. Jordan Peele's recent films have been good at balancing comedy and horror thrills. Yep. Yep. Totally agree. Yeah, Hell Comes to Frogtown. I don't love that one, but whatever. I don't think like guys like Roddy Piper got offered lots of opportunities at the time, so I don't really blame that movie on him per se. Okay, well, I guess I'm alone on that one. Frogtown rules. Yep. Ban this man for making me think of Hell Comes to Frogtown. So the two very different opinions there. I was honestly surprised at how good of an actor John Cena is as Peacemaker. Yeah, that's fair, actually. John Cena did do an excellent job showing some range in Peacemaker. So he's, I think that these days the standard that every wrestler turned actor is going to be based on is The Rock. And look, The Rock is a good action star, and I think he's capable of acting and doing more, but I don't think he has much interest in pushing himself in dramatic roles, at least not these days. When he was just starting out, he explored that a little, and he was fine, but he doesn't seem to have a whole lot of interest exploring that. And so every role he takes now is kind of he's playing a variation of The Rock, which is fine. A lot of A-list actors do that. Like, he's hardly alone. Oh, all right. Bubba Hotep will always be one of my favorites. Young Frankenstein. Young Frankenstein, I'm just going to call it comedy, even though there's a monster in it. But fair. My coworkers were a little offended when I said John Cena was a better actor than The Rock. No, he probably is. He did he didn't have much to do in, say, Fast and Furious 9, right? He didn't really do too much there. But Peacemaker, the TV show anyway, he pushed himself in some interesting directions on that. Yeah, it was good. Transylvania 65000. That's obscure. Is that the one with Jeff Goldblum? That's pretty obscure. Oh, yeah. Right. John Wayne is always playing a version of John Wayne. That said, there are better John Wayne movies than others. Something like True Grit or The Searchers are way up there. But whatever, there's that movie where he plays Genghis Khan. What was anyone thinking with that one? That is just bizarre. If Mr. Miracle ever makes it to the big screen, Tom Cruise should play him. That way the stunts Scott does can be real and no one's crazy enough than Cruise. Yeah, that's an interesting idea. I like John Cena way back when he was in Psych. Never saw that, I'm afraid. Never saw that. Hey Gene, how you feeling? It's nice to have you on the stream. Just checking in since you're there. Like, you feeling pretty good these days? You feeling back to normal? Tired? Just curious. John Cena as Jason. I don't think I need that. I do like my Jason silent. Let's see. Yeah, The Conqueror. John Wayne played Genghis Khan. Do you know the dark history of that movie? No. I just know that it was made, and I think it was a bad idea. I don't know about any dark history behind it, I have to admit. To Wikipedia we go, right? We got to learn. Christy and I are going to go out on a date night tonight in a little bit. We're going to go to a game place. We're going to play some crane games and maybe some video games and stuff like that. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm going to do this for a little bit longer. I'm going to do a little more editing stuff tonight. I don't know if I'll have comic tropes ready on Sunday, to be honest. I'm going to try, but it might be too much. It might be too much for me. I'm just trying not to I'm not trying to get burnout. I'm trying to balance everything. I'm good. Maybe a little more tired than normal, but I'm back to work and made it through 4 10-hour days. Good for you. That's awesome. That's something. That's something. All the actors died from radiation or something like that. Really? No kidding. If John Cena played Jason, we wouldn't be able to see him. Sounds like a nice time. I hope you have fun. I wish to find love one day. Then you will. Just be open to it, and someone will cross your path. I believe that. What if you took a steamer to that green screen, get out those wrinkles? It's mostly just because it's hanging from like some temporarily from like some push pins. If I've got an actual like rack that I need to install in the ceiling, where it can be pinned, and there shouldn't really be any wrinkles. It should be able to hang down heavy enough that you wouldn't really see those wrinkles there. So I'll try to improve it. Yeah. They filmed a Genghis Khan movie on an old nuclear test site and killed some people with radiation sickness from residual fallout. Oh my God. So not only did they have a bad idea for like who to cast and stuff, they didn't even like research properly where they were filming, huh? Wow. The movie was filmed downwind from a nuclear test site. 91 of the 250 cast and crew were diagnosed with cancer, with 41 of them dying from it. And that's just diagnosed. I bet that a couple more were. That's amazing. That is just, that's heartbreaking. Wow. I bet that there were some lawsuits. That is just so negligent. Wow. Well, so be it. Does anybody else out there have a favorite Friday the 13th movie out of the various Friday the 13ths? I again, I think part 4. If for nothing else, the Crispin Glover dance scene. If you haven't seen that, just YouTube Friday the 13th, Crispin Glover, and I bet you anything the first result is going to be his ludicrous dance that he did, which apparently he was like in his head or something, or on set. I think he was dancing to an AC/DC song like Back in Black. And I'm pretty sure I'm remembering that one right. But whatever it is, if you set his dance to the right music, you're like, okay, he does have a certain rhythm to that dance. It's still totally bonkers moves. But in the actual movie, it's just this like nothing, free song basically that they could just get. It doesn't sound like anything. And he does not dance to the rhythm at all. So it's hilarious. Have a couple arcade rounds on me. Thank you. Thank you so much. That's so nice. Oh, these are some people saying their favorite Friday the 13th. Definitely part 4. The Telekinetic Girl. Yeah, part 7. Part 7 definitely had the best look to Jason. All of a sudden, they bothered to act like that there was some continuity from movie to movie, and his mask showed all the damage he'd taken from previous films. Hey, Ted, where's the corkscrew? Yeah. Yeah. Crispin Glover was on that Netflix horror anthology that Guillermo del Toro did, Cabinet of Curiosities. He was in an episode of that was sort of a might have even been based specifically on a story by Lovecraft. For me, it's a 2-way tie between part 7 and part X. Okay. 6 and 7 were great. Not perfect, but still great. Yeah, I think. Let me rank them. In my. Give me a minute here. I'm going to say, okay, so let me just think of how many there were, first of all. Okay, so there were 8 with Paramount, 2 more at New Line versus Freddy and the reboot. So definitely number 1 best movie I'm going to say is number 4, then number 6. This is just my personal ranking. 4, 6, that's the one where he comes back to life. Jason Lives, kind of funny. After that, in 3rd place, I think I'll put Part 2. Part 2 probably had the best. That was Jason's first appearance as the killer. That was good. So 4, 6, 2. I'm a sucker for Versus, so I'll put Versus Jason in next. Then I'll put the reboot after that because I thought that was pretty good storytelling. Then I'll put number 1, sort of like right in the middle there. It's pretty good still. I like them all, just to be clear. Then I'll put number 3, gets the iconic mask. Number 7, number 8, number 10, and Final Friday. Oh, and number 5 after that. I think that's my list. I might move a few of those around, but that's basically my list, okay? No, I've never seen any of his directorial efforts, I'm afraid. No, I haven't. Has Crispin Glover done some good stuff with directing? He's an interesting guy. There's no question about that. No, I don't think I have seen River's Edge, actually. I know he's in that. 7 is basically Jason versus Carrie. Yeah, and it works as that. I like it. I like them all, even like whatever I put at the bottom. I still have them all on VHS. I've got them on DVD. What's my favorite Versus film? Could we call Captain America Civil War a Versus movie? Because if we count that as a Versus movie, it doesn't have the word Versus in it, but if we can count that as a Versus movie, I thought that was pretty darn good. I like the recent King Kong versus Godzilla. Sorry, hold on. That came out of nowhere. Oh, all right. I'm good. I do like Freddy versus Jason. I like the first Predator, Alien versus Predator. Okay, it's decent enough for what it is. Kong versus Godzilla. Remember when they used to show Friday the 13th, the series marathons every Friday the 13th on Sci-Fi Channel? I didn't know that they did. I didn't grow up with cable, so I guess I didn't know that they showed the TV show marathon on Sci-Fi Channel. I do remember around maybe the year 2000 or something watching the movie marathons on, I thought it was the Sci-Fi Channel, might have been a different one. Carrie says, my favorite is part 2 because he stands on that chair to hide from the chick under the bed only to fall through like a klutz. So that's true. He did. Oh, that's a good Versus movie. Favorite comic book movie? What is my favorite comic book movie? I mean, it changes. It kind of changes a lot. The 3D song is yeah. The music in part 3 is good. I totally remember what you're talking about. I don't know that I could necessarily hum it, but I've got it in my head right now. Totally agree with you there. But I really do like part 6's Alice Cooper song. Chrissy misheard the lyrics to it the first time I was listening to it, that she heard it, and she thought that it said, yeah, Ed Gozie's back. And what else? I forget the rest of the lyrics that she thought it had, but she thought that he was something like a janitor. It goes, yeah, because he's back, the man behind the mask. And she thought it was like, Ed Gozie's back. I can't remember the rest, but she misheard it, and it's pretty good, though. Probably won't do this for too much longer, just so you folks know. I'm going to probably head out soon, but it's been fun to sort of just draw Jason and chat with all of you. It's nice. Joe versus the volcano for a versus movie. Just Ed Gozie's back, and then you and I wrote the next line, and he's got a floor to wax. That's right. Ed Gozie's back, and he's got a floor to wax. Can we just, we assumed Ed Gozie was some sort of a janitor. Ed Gozie's back. How tall am I? Not as tall as I used to be. I'm getting older. I was 6'1". Now I think I'm like legit a notch under 6 foot. I've lost. Because the baddest final girl. I would say that the original Terminator was a horror movie, and that Sarah Connor was a pretty fantastic final girl. I would say that Jamie Lee Curtis in the first Halloween is a fantastic final girl. I'd also call Ellen Ripley in the original Alien one of the all-time best final girls. So, between them, I don't know. I really like Sarah Connor. Yes, in high heels, I definitely would make it. Ripley. But those three, right? Like Laurie Strode, Ellen Ripley, and Sarah Connor. Those are all pretty iconic final girls, I think. And there've been a lot out there. I would say that Ash Williams is essentially a final girl, even though he's a guy. You know, he's in the Evil Dead movies. I think that he counts as a final girl in terms of the overall tropes of what a final survivor is in a horror movie. I'm only 4 feet tall. Any evidence to the contrary is forced perspective. That's right. Camera makes me look taller. Gonna watch a horror movie. Thanks for the stream. Awesome. I love that idea. I think that's a very good idea to leave and go watch a horror movie. I encourage you all to do that today. It is Friday the 13th. We need to properly celebrate. And we do that by watching a horror movie. That's how we do it. Let's see. You're taking off too? Okay, that's fair. Yep. Yeah, I know that he was going to make the Spider-Man movie through Canon. I believe Canon held the rights for a little while. He was definitely considering hiring Leonardo DiCaprio. I'm sure he could have made a somewhat interesting Spider-Man movie, but we'll never know. We'll never know. Olivia Hussey, is it, in Black Christmas? Yeah, I mean, that's definitely one of the templates for a slasher movie, that's for sure. Friday Part 8 had a really good song on the soundtrack, The Darkest Side of Night by Metropolis. You can hear it play during the film's opening and while the end credits are rolling. I don't really remember that off the top of my head, but yeah. Oh, yeah, Barbarian from last year is really good. I don't know that I'd call Black Phone great, but I definitely would say that it's good. It's entertaining. It's good. Well, I think that this pretty much does it for what I can accomplish right now. I appreciate you folks joining me for just talking about Friday the 13th, a movie that for some dumb reason I really like. And yeah, talking about what our favorites are and stuff like that. The fun thing about drawing Jason is you can always add lots of little dirt and grime and stains to his outfit, and it makes him look better. So it's one of those things where sometimes as an artist you're trying to do as few lines as possible, but Jason, you can kind of get away with doing more than usual, which is kind of fun. I don't know that I did a great job, but I'm happy enough with the pose and some of the details. And I was trying to work a little faster than typical to sort of challenge myself. I had fun. Pouches. I was going off of an actual figure there that has some pouches and stuff like that. So, all right. Just me. Folks, thanks so much for jumping in on the live stream. I'm going to go work a little bit more on the next comic tropes. Could be a little delayed again because just fighting a burnout. But I think I'll have a good one when it finally is ready. And happy Friday the 13th to all of you. I'll give you a salute this way. I'll give you a salute that way. I'm throwing it like a nice chop. We're going to chop things up. It's Friday the 13th, baby. Go watch a horror movie. That's what I recommend. Take care. I'll see you real soon. Keep reading comics. Bye.